Got about 2 minutes, guys, and then we'll start. Oh, that was good. Look at everyone just quiet right down. Good afternoon to the very full room here at the Toronto Lawn. If I haven't already introduced myself to a lot of the new guests or the guests here, I'm David Richardson, the president of the club for 2 more weeks. And then it's Arthur's, and it's all Arthur's. Not even, I guess it's a week and a half. With that, I want to officially open up the June 19th, 2024 meeting, which is our year-end meeting. And I want to welcome all the guests in the room. We have 9 guests today. I'm going to start over here at this table here. We have Hannah Schwartz and her sisters Elan and Liat. You guys can stand if you want. And then we have Anne Gregor, who is the back table. She's here. She's the daughter of Tibor Gregor. And I'm going to embarrass her a little bit. She made a very substantial donation, or her father made a very substantial donation to the foundation this year. And so she's here to discuss how we're going to use that money. And then we also have, I'm just going through my list. We have Ashton O'Mara here, who's a potential new member with us. She's joining us for our very first meeting. Welcome. We also have Ismet Zorlu, who's here from Turkey. This is her 3rd meeting. She came up to Trails with us. Did you have fun last week? Yeah, it was good. Welcome. We also have right beside her, we have Noel Hayes, who's from I hear from London, correct?
The Rubicon of London, despite my accent.
Yes. Welcome. The London, not the London, Ontario, right? London, England. Yes. And then we have an old friend, Mike Hazel, is here today. And then last but not least, we have another potential new member, is Jay Burnside, who's also here for her first visit. Welcome. How do we welcome? We already talked to everybody, so welcome to everyone today. Before we move into the regular part of the business, I just want to welcome or acknowledge birthdays that are coming up. We have a couple in the room here. Actually, everyone except for one. So we have Walter the third. They're over in front of me. Walter's celebrating a birthday on June 20th. That's tomorrow. So happy birthday. We have Ed Lee, who's not with us today, but he's on June 27th. Sandy McKellar is on the 28th. I saw him come in. There he is over there. Happy birthday. And then Josepha is also on June 28th. So happy birthday. Okay, I'm now going to call upon Sandy Loudon online to give us a reflection for today.
Hey, on October the 7th last year, a band of Hamas thugs from the Gaza Strip invaded northern Israel and killed about 1,200 innocent people while taking some 300 hostages. It was a terrible action. There's some evidence that Israel had prior knowledge that the attack was coming, but did nothing to do it to avert any subsequent problems. In the response, however, the Israeli Defense Force invaded Gaza, and in the subsequent 9 months, they've killed about 40,000 Palestinians. They've destroyed most of the infrastructure, including homes and hospitals, and brought on a serious famine while attempting to stamp out Hamas. Who's right? For decades, Palestinians have felt they were abused by the Israelis. The Israelis have felt threatened by the Palestinians, on the other hand. Hamas has taken control over a group of people who have never been able to govern themselves, and they've removed all the Jews from what they consider their own chosen territory. For the past month or so, students and other perpetrators on university campuses have been protesting on behalf of the Palestinians. Their protests are typical student overblown protests and verge on what's called anti-Semitism, although in fact it's really anti-Israelism that they're protesting about. They do have a point, however. Is the Israeli response excessive? Well, maybe it's useful to consider how all those Palestinian deaths would look if they happened in our country. In an attack on Canada, compared in death count to what's happened in Gaza, 2 deaths per 100 people, the death toll would be 800,000 people. Our COVID death toll, which was considered so horrific, was only 69,000 in comparison. And that disease brought our country to a standstill. Can you imagine what 800,000 would do? In the US, the comparative death toll would be almost 7 million. Fewer than 4,000 people were killed in 9/11, and that event brought the US into a couple of lousy wars. Neither of the opposing sides in this war is correct. Isn't it time for them to step back and consider what we call the 4-way test of Rotary? Is it the truth? Fair to all concerned? Build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? All these statements say the same thing. Don't just consider yourself as the only one worth listening to. Spend some time listening to others.
Thank you, Sandy. We're gonna do Happy Bucks now. So, Lana, did you have anybody, or no, Chad, did you have anybody who's assigned to?
I want to keep the.
They'll keep track? Okay, anyone have any head bugs? Norma?
Yeah, but I'm excited that we gave a $5,000 check to Allen Gardens, as you all know, I'm involved with Allen Gardens. And if you go to their website, they have Toronto Westminster Rotary in very large letters on their website in 2 places. So I just wanted to say I'm happy that they're acknowledging our donation to them and thank you, and with our names on the website.
Beautiful. Jackie?
Well, I guess I have to be from Edmonton, Alberta, for the next 2 weeks. because
Don't we all?
Oilers won last night. Go Oilers.
Is that football? Is that football?
I think I first.
That was quite the game last night. Come on. Anyone else here? Okay, Trey.
So I've got $5 because we just hot off the presses got a thank you letter from Covenant House for our generous donation, which helps support 3 youth going from the shelter to independent living in their own place. So just furnishing them with bedding and all that cookware and all that other type stuff that most of us take for granted when we're setting up a house. So
Beautiful.
That's $5.
Oh my God.
And I'll also I'll scan it and send it in so that you can
We'll save it.
post it to the follow-up.
Beautiful.
I got $10 you're gonna change.
Sorry, we don't give change here.
Okay, I just want to thank the club for their support of me and of Trails. It was a lovely visit last week. We feel very welcome up there, and they are very, very, very appreciative of all the stuff that we do for them. So I just want to say thank you on their behalf. And they do say thank you.
They do.
They've written many letters. There's some money for them. Perfect. Anybody else?
There's your change, Tom.
Thanks. Thanks, Tom. I'm putting in happy bucks because I turned 70 today.
Happy
And
birthday.
so I deem this to be my year of gratitude and got a lot to be thankful for, including having been a member of this club. And just 10 years ago, I was about to be inducted as the club president. The club was sizzling at 60.
Yeah.
So my motto for this year is gratitude and sputtering at 70. But in that regard, I just want to say a great thanks to the club for their endowment of the Yes We Can Canada program last year. If you recall, we put in $5,000 to start out the mentorship program. It's been running for the past year. It'll be concluding next week. It's been highly successful. We've worked with girls from MENA, JPCI, and from GEM. And it's been marvelous for me to be able to mentor these young ladies. One of them, in fact, made an address to the General Assembly of the United Nations on equity, diversity, and inclusiveness. And her name is Lavinia Ohoma, out of McGill. She was also selected to give the commensuration address at McGill this year, which is, as you've seen in the news, a very special year. Anyway, thank you very much for all of your support on through the years.
Mike, I wouldn't have thought you were a day older than 69, so well done.
I want to echo what Norma said. And we also gave $5,000 to Churches on the Hill Food Bank. And Dawn received a lovely thank you letter from them that probably should be on our website.
That's what happens when you have a big group of people. Lots of happy
$5
faces.
for Tibor's daughter being here and a memory of Tibor. Any of us who were lucky enough to be in the club when he was in the club, he was somebody very special. You'd walk out of the club at the end of a meeting and there'd be the vice president and treasurer of Rotary International waiting to meet Tibor. I tell one quick Tibor story. I was in Kiev, Ukraine, and I was standing waiting for my compatriots to go to work, and I noticed somebody across the room who looked very familiar, who I never met. And it dawned on me it was the international president of Rotary. And I thought, how do I introduce myself? And so I walked right over and said, I know Tibor. And he patted me on the back and invited me to the dinner I was having that night.
Well said. Oh,
Another one, Tom.
well, you're back.
I have another 5.
The meeting's gonna run long.
It's okay, it's money.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for coming up. I'm part of the youth committee and I'm part of the foundation. I never met Tibor, although I am a member here as well. But everybody gives tremendous accolades to his appearance at meetings on time and frequently, and his giving. And well done. You have a great father.
Walter. Walter what?
Walter,
2?
Walter too. Okay, $5 basically. I'm expecting a new grandchild on Saturday. My daughter's due on Saturday. I've got a new grandson coming. So this is in anticipation of that.
Well done.
Do we have anybody online?
Yes,
We have
I've got
online.
$10 for, this is Joe Clark, and I will donate $10 for the Bujiri Wash-In School project submitted its first annual progress report on the project that is being undertaken in southeastern Uganda, providing safe water and sanitary supplies, sanitary facilities for 5 schools. And I would be remiss if I did not mention Norma, Barb, Jim, Ron, Maureen Bird from the Toronto Club, and Ganezi, who are members of the committee that look after this.
Thank you, Joe. Anyone else online?
Yeah,
Sandy.
I've got $10. I'm having my 7th grandchild married on Saturday.
Oh my goodness, you're a busy man.
I got 4 more to go.
Okay, I'm gonna give $20. Chad, you can write it down, I'll transfer. I'm gonna give $20 as this being my last official meeting as the president, I hope. Arthur, I'm out of here, man. This is my second go at this, so I'm counting on you. You can lean on me, but that's about it. Anyway, so yeah, so I'm looking forward to July 3rd when we do the actual changeover to Arthur as for the official president. And I'll be looking forward to becoming the past president and only the membership chair. So having said that,
$20 or is your rebate from the last time come out of it?
I don't know, what is it?
I don't know, you probably did the same thing last time.
Well, it doesn't matter. I'll give another 20. Okay, having said that, so the format of today's meeting is slightly different than our normal format. We don't have one speaker for us tonight. For today, we have all of our chairs from all of our committees speaking to you and giving you a final year, end of year report on what their activities were. So we're going to start off with Jackie's going to do the foundation report first, and then we'll move on to Joseph after that.
Well, thank you, President David. For those who are guests here, the Rotary Club of Toronto Eglinton has a charitable foundation. It was established about 25 years ago, and the purpose of it is to raise funds for our projects outside of the sorry about that, outside of the of Rotary International, and also to be able to tax receipt donations. It is governed by a board of 8 directors who are responsible to ensure that we operate according to CRA. We've done a lot of great work. Every year we provide $45,000 scholarships for Indigenous students at Toronto Metropolitan University. We also we're pleased to fund the Tibor Gregor Scholarship in Slavic Studies at U of T, the Robertson Awards at U of T as well. We provide legacy funds for scholarships at John Polanyi, Collegiate Institute, and Northern. We were very honored this year to receive $80,000 from the estate of Tibor Gregor. And we're delighted to have Anne here today to help us decide how to honor Tibor's memory in our club and the community. I'd like to first of all to thank Walter Wells for his service to the foundation as treasurer for a long, long time. Thank you, Walter. Thank you. I'd like to introduce you to the board of directors of the foundation for the 24-25 year. I am pleased to act as president for the last one more year, like David, and introduce you to Bill Steele, who has agreed to be the treasurer of the foundation, Norma Davis, our wonderful secretary, and our directors, Walter Wells, Bob Vernon, Bill Martin, Ray Cowan, and happy trails, Tom Knott. Okay, so just to finish, we're very pleased as a foundation to be responsible for monitoring about $175,000 in an investment account that was started by several people here back in the 1990s when you held the Robert McClure dinners. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jackie. I'm going to call upon Josepha now. Yep, one. You are community service, this one here. Okay. It's just, you're gonna have to, I would just use your hand to do it. Okay. It's a PDF, it's not a PowerPoint.
So I'm just going to highlight and do a bit of a summary of 2023, 2024 community service because there are so many things that we did. I thought it would be better just to highlight some. So, okay, these are the committee members that we have: Norma, Bill, Glenn, Ray, Ron, Dawn, Walter, Marion, Anna, other Walter, and myself. We were asked by Toronto East Rotary Club to contribute to their district grant towards a fund that they are involved with that supports Michael Garron Hospital Cancer Support Program. So we happily contributed $1,000 to that, and that came from foundation. This is a bit of some from last year, so some of you may have seen some of this before, but Nellie Shelter, we approved $7,500 for their food handlers and workplace hazardous materials information system training. Thank you, Marion, where are you? Yeah, thank you for delivering the big check to Romero House. This was a new organization that Marion champions. Their community, the Romero House community welcomes refugee claimants with housing, immigration support, and settlement. This was a fun day. Earlier in the year, our committee had approved, well, you can't really quite see it there, but $8,500 for 1,000 shirts that are worn by the Habitat for Humanity Restore volunteer workers. And then Ron, Anna, and I went in March to actually clean houses that were going to be, well, some of them were moving in as we were cleaning them. Some had started moving in the day before, but it was a really great day. And it was a really, I would say, very fulfilling experience for us. And so we were really happy to support Habitat for Humanity. The Good Shepherd, I actually wrote some numbers here, but the Good Shepherd, this wonderful group of people listed here, Dawn, Norma, Ganitzi, and Gloria, who's a friend of this club, hundreds of sandwiches, cookies, fruit. These sandwiches were made by the people named here and then delivered by Dawn for quite a few months. The last one was, I think, delivered May 27th, and then taking a break for the summer. A group of us went to New Circles, which is a community service. It's a nonprofit grassroots agency that builds strong and caring communities by providing clothing, skills, training programs to equity deserving individuals. So we went there, we were sorting clothes, and we were so efficient that we finished an hour early, and they have invited us back for the fall. Another organization, Fred Victor, which many of you are familiar with. Home starter kits have been provided. We also did hygiene kits in December, but these are some of the items that Dawn championed this. We had 4 home starter kits that went to Fred Victor over the last 12 months. As already mentioned, the total that went to Allen Gardens Food Bank was $10,000, and there's the letter there that was sent by the director, Kathy Brenner, and I will make sure I'll have that stuff will be saved in the Club Runner files, and it can be posted on our website. And as Marion mentioned, $10,000 to Churches on the Hill. And I actually wrote some notes here because I thought it was important to highlight a few points from this letter. 3 days of food are supplied to approximately 1,200 people per week. And then there was a line there that stood out for me where Kenneth Burns wrote, "Food costs and high client volumes have escalated and threaten the long-term sustainability of our food bank and others in Toronto." That's pretty alarming, and there's a lot more people in need than from when I remember growing up here. And so our committee was proud to donate in total $20,000 to food banks. Champion Walter, thank you for what you do with Out of the Cold. How many months is it over again?
Oh, it's about 6 months.
6 months, twice a month.
Over to pretty much end of May.
Yeah, and this has been going on for many years, so just wanted to mention you and thank you. And Needle Work Guild, this was something that our club did in the fall. We volunteered twice, and thanks, Ray. I know you were really involved, so thank you. And I just wanted to add, that's my quick summary, that we do have Blues Fest this Saturday, and Dawn is still looking for some volunteers to help out about 4 o'clock. So if you are able to, please contact Dawn for some of those late afternoon volunteer positions. And I would also like to let you know that I am done my chair position. I know I only did it for 1 year, but I had taken over for Dawn. The deal that we made is that, or the arrangement we had, I shouldn't say deal, is that she would come back after the year. But we have Glenn Frost taking over as the chair as of July 1st, and he will be supported by Marian Axsmith as vice chair. And so I will happily stay connected and help them out as they transition into the role. So thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. And now I'm going to call upon Lionel to do the youth invocational update. Lionel, it is 12:53. 5 minutes. And everybody's laughing, but 5 minutes. So that's 12:50.
You're gonna ring the bell?
Okay, I'll give you till 1 o'clock. That's 6 minutes.
I'll try my best anyway. Youth and Vocational Services Year-End Committee report, yeah, for 23-24. The down button? I got you. Okay. So these are our committee members, which were in the committee this year rather. Craig, Chad, Lars, Stephen Bianco, Stephen Stein, Tom Knott, and Jenny Byland-Duke, I put in there as well, who put in a fine effort with the Rylance program while she was with our club before she left. So that's good. Next, let's go here. We've got a mission statement. I'll let you read that. I'm not going to go through it myself, but you can read it on your own. But basically, that's a mission statement that reflects what we're trying to do on a yearly basis. And I think that's been in force for a number of years. Underneath that, I got our youth program support 2 of Rotary International's 8 pillars of service: peace and conflict prevention, resolution, and literacy and education. And I've listed some of our typical programs that would fit into one of these 2 categories. Getting onto the programs themselves. We funded the Leaders in Training program and supported its launch date in the spring of 2024 with a check for $6,000. We purchased 6 new canoes to replace those that were beyond repair. And 3 of these canoes were launched in the summer of 2023. 3 more were purchased in the fall of that year and launched this spring. We refurbished the kitchen renovations up at the Trails Main Lodge for approximately $20,000. And we funded the Trails Grads bursary program, which we started off this year, to an alumnus who had finished their 4 seasons, 4 life program at Trails, and presented the big check for $24,000, which in fact was $6,000 a year for 4 years at their site last week. Project Give Back is a program which focuses on mentorship and student-initiated community projects. The sustainable and very successful program that we've supported at Regal Road Public School for several years. 13th round Fight for Life collaborative mentorship life skills development program focused on treating a trauma on youth from lower income environments. We help support them hiring 2 new social workers this year on staff for $5,000. Philpott Foundation tennis certification. This is a non-for-profit organization that offers free tennis programs for kids aged 6 to 15 from lower income neighborhoods. And we sponsored an individual with $6,500 to obtain her tennis instructor certification and possibly securing employment with Philpott as a summer instructor. Layup basketball, this was established in 2013 in Regent Park and operates house leagues in many lower income inner city schools. We donated $5,000 to support 20 youth in their 6-week house league program. And the goal this year was to increase the girls' participation in the sport. And that's where the money would go towards this year. Covenant House, and Craig's mentioned one thing, they got the letter, a thank you note for us helping them out this year. It's the largest agency in Canada serving youth who are homeless, trafficked, or at risk. We donated almost $4,000 to support young adults moving from the Covenant House location into independent living in rental apartments. And in this situation, the young people would pay their rent from what they made at full or part-time jobs and while continuing their education for the most part. Variety, the Children's Village of Ontario, we donated $3,000 to purchase sporting equipment for young people with disabilities. The Rotary Leadership Symposium is something we've supported, I guess, for who knows, 20 or 30 years. I mean, it goes way back when. Very successful program. It sponsored 2 students to attend this year's symposium in May of this year. The camp's objective to develop leadership skills, citizenship, personal development, among other values. And we picked 2 students actually from the MINA organization who were A1 students and were particularly community service minded. HIP, National Y2Y program, HIT, honoring Indigenous people, financially supported this seminar promoting intercultural understanding, reconciliation, and building friendships between Indigenous and non-Indigenous students. The seminar and conference was held in Mission, BC in May, has been supported over a number of years by several Rotary clubs across Canada. In conclusion, we were successful in continuing our support for youth charities that we've developed a working relationship in the past. We reached out and supported new organizations that identified with our mandate and goals as laid out in our mission statement. And we spent within our budgets and forecasts and the money dispersed from bingo funds. And we spent a lot this year. Ensured securing our permit with the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Commission for the following year. Last but not least, I do want to thank our hardworking, dedicated youth committee members who championed these projects and brought them to fruition. That's the end of my report. Thank you very much.
He did it, 1 o'clock. You're there, man. Everyone laughs who's not been here before. Lana could go on for an hour if he really wanted to talk about everything because he's so passionate about it all. So I applaud him on keeping it in this short period of time. I probably will go longer than he will. Just bear with me because our next presenter is coming from, let's get out of this. Kenesi, I'm going to let you, I'm going to see if I've stopped sharing my screen. I think I have. Yes, so you can, Kenesi, you can share your content now. He's going to do the international committee since Jim is not here. He's in the hospital today for some tests. So she is in Turkey right now, long distance.
And President David, President Arthur, fellow Rotarians and guests, today I'm sharing the presentation of International Service Committee for 23-24 annual report. Is it seen fully?
We can see it. Just click on the button on the fourth from the left. Yeah, up the top. There you go.
There we are. Rotary Toronto Eglinton International Service Committee, Club Assembly, June 19, 2024, Jim Moore, Chair, Günize Çakılcıoğlu, Incoming Chair. Members of 23-24, Jim Moore, Chair, Günize Çakılcıoğlu, Vice Chair, Nan Champion, Norma Davis, Maria Den Oosten, Bill Martin, Joe Clark, past chair, Nilam Bedi, Anna Chet, Ron Denham, Lars Harrison, Tonda Murushi, the late Mark Yagani, PHF. Providing clean water, Uganda, Buguri Wash in Schools Global Grant, Host Club RC in Nitanda, International Club Rotary Toronto Eglinton, a borehole of groundwater, roof collection and storage for rainwater, girls and boys latrines and wash stands, menstrual hygiene, plus health education. RTE contribution USD 5,000, total project cost USD 125,000. Bugiri, Uganda, digging and lining lanterns. Bugiri, finishing VIP latrine buildings, separate girls and boys latrines, hand washing stands, providing clean, I'm sorry. Water in Bugiri, Uganda, building a rainwater storage tank to connect to a rooftop collection system. Providing clean water, sanitation, and hygiene, teaching girls and boys the basics of menstrual hygiene and reproductive health training.
Ja. Ja, nee, het is genoeg. Het is
Saving, excuse me, saving mothers and children. Karanda Mission Hospital in Zimbabwe. RTE continues to provide 1,500 USD per year for training nurses. Fighting disease at Karanda in Zimbabwe through community outreach rehab training. Multi-club 25 grant project spearheaded by RTE and McClure Foundation with help from our Rotary partners. The Rotary clubs of Belleville, Coburg, Etobicoke, Scarborough, Toronto, Uxbridge, Whitby, and Windsor. Responding to the disasters, earthquake in Turkey, earthquake relief in Turkey, RTE has provided US 3,500 in support of the global grant of Rotary Club of Göksu, Turkey, to supply 2 emergency ambulances the affected region. Supporting growing local economies, protecting the environment, rising out of the ashes Rota, Zebelin in Egypt community project sponsored by Rotary Scarborough. RTE contributed $2,000 toward semi-automated loom equipment and training. Enabling, I'm sorry, something is coming to my screen. Okay, enabling women to generate income by making and selling beautiful products. RTE has partnered with other clubs in other projects, creating hope in the world. RC Bowmanville Maternity Clinic in Uganda, RC Toronto Vocational School in Sierra Leone, RC Uxbridge Teen Clubs for HIV Youth in Malawi, RC Whitby Teens Mentoring Younger Kids in Guatemala, RC Whitby Mothers Learning Teaching Literacy in India. Thank you to all our committee members for their dedication of time and sweat equity to bringing these projects to fruition. Thank you to our club, our foundation, and our members for providing the financial support to enable these projects to happen. Rotarians doing good in the world. And thank you, Jim Moore, being a great leader for our team.
Very well done. Thank you, Genesi. If you want to stop sharing your screen.
Stop it.
Okay.
Did you stop it?
No, you have to stop it. I'm going to start it.
Okay.
I'm going to do mine anyway.
Very good.
Okay, and I get to present to you the membership committee year-end report. So the committee members on the report as the chair, we had Ganese, Joe, Lars, Mike Moy, Tim, Laura, and Arthur Parks. So some of the highlights for the year, as you know, Lois was the chair of this committee at the beginning of the year, and she left us at the end of December, and I offered to take on the role of membership chair just prior to knowing that I would be taking on the presidency as well. But I want to thank Lois for all her hard work over the years that she did work on the membership. She brought a lot of great new members to the club, and I miss her dearly as a friend of the Rotary Club of Toronto Eglinton. I also want to note, and this is, I consider these last 6 months kind of a training ground for me. Membership is a full-time job at the club, and as chair, I feel my last 6 months were just an introduction. So now that I'm stepping down as president, I'll be able to spend a little bit more time and be able to sit with the new members that are here, where I don't be up front. I can sit down and have a nice little chat to some of our newer people that are here today. So I look forward to those conversations in the future. So I know we all like to know about our numbers. Numbers are not important to me because I think it's the quality of the Rotarian, not the number of Rotarians we have in our club. But I want to just note that who's come to us this year and who has left us this year. So we started out with 49 members as of July 1st, 2023. We brought on 10 new members. We brought on Anna, Craig, Vicky, Jenny, Tonda, Walter the third, Maria, Paul, Maria the second, and Arthur Parks, who is our next president. We ended the year with 46 active members and 6 honorary members. We lost more than we actually gained this year. So our net loss is 3. I'm just going to go through these. If you have questions, you can ask me afterwards. But we lost Jenny Billenduke just this past month. Susan Tabor left us in December. Don is leaving us at the end of this year. Mike Hazel we lost him at the beginning of last year, but it looks like he might want to be coming back and being a new friend of the Rotary Club. Craig Fossey is leaving us. He left the foundation this year, and he is leaving the club due to being too busy. Martin Eric Tremblay moved out of the area. Lois moved up to Aurelia. Mark Ugani passed away this past fall. Ed Lee had some health issues, and so he's stepping back for at least a year, but hopefully he'll be back in a year from now. Susan Salek, we asked to leave due to an activity back in December. We asked Fadi Stanley to leave at the end of last year because of an activity. We're in the process of asking June Liu to leave the club because she has not been seen in over a year. And then Julian Mary, we moved from a active member to an honorary member this year. So those are the activities of the club. So some of the activities that we did this year. So we have introduced, and if you haven't been on our website, some of our newer members that have just prior to the conversations I started with a lot of these people happened before we made this changeover. We did this last month. We've introduced the membership success module on our website. So when someone does sign in, they give us a whole bunch of information that allows us to have a much more constructive conversation with them, ask them why they're looking at Rotary Toronto Eglinton, what their interests are in Rotary and such. So it really starts us off on a much better foot than we have been in the past. And I just came across this module. It looks like it's fairly new. And so we've added it to our arsenal here on the website. There has been a focus over the last 6 months to slow the process down, as I said. I'm not looking at numbers. I'm looking at the quality of the Rotarian. We want people that are coming because they want to give back or be a part of the community. And I think that's important, as you'll see in some of my other comments I have later on. One of the things we did last week, and I think we can speak for the people that are in the room that came to these, we had 2 fireside chats. We hadn't had them in a while, and we had them Tuesday and Thursday last week, and they went very well, I think. The feedback from the members, that the new members that were there felt that they were very informative and very, very beneficial. And it was a very casual environment, and we had about 6 to 8 people at each one of the sessions. So we will continue to do the fireside chats for our newer people. And a high point for me is it's great to see new people and our new members of our club taking on leadership roles. So I want to acknowledge that Glenn is taking on the community service, and Marion's going to be his vice chair. Ganese's taking over the international committee, and Bill is jumping on to the foundation as treasurer. So I applaud you for stepping up, because I think you'll get a lot out of it. So please, thank you. Recognize these people. And I just wanted to qualify, and this is where I'm thinking from membership chair. I put all of us into 4 categories. And basically, these are my categories. These are not Rotary categories. They're just categories I feel that we're kind of where we have people in this room and on the Zoom fit into our club. So we have people that are new to Rotary. that don't know a lot about Rotary, and those are our new members that we're talking about. And they're just learning and finding their way on their Rotary journey. And that's our role as mentors, or as well as members that are established, to help them on their way and educate them and bring forth information to them so they can feel a part of our club. Then there's the second phase, or the second category, which is finding life Rotary balance. And there's some of us in this room that are trying to figure out how we do both. And, family, health, things of that sort kind of get in the way of us trying to give back. And you're trying to find how that works. And that's fair. We just ask that you can come out and do things. If you can't be coming to meetings, come out and do some of our activities. Like I know, like Vicki Liederman can't get to all the meetings because she has a meeting that happens every week at this time. So she came out to the Don't Mess with the Dawn with her husband. And so she came out to activities. And that's a Rotarian that makes the time for the club and for giving back. So that's important to us. And then I have our other category that I find there's about 20% of the club in right now. And this is like every other club, I think, where we're very active in Rotary, but taking on too much. So that's why I'm applauding those new leadership people that are taking on leadership roles, because it's important, because people will burn out. And so I know I've been doing a lot this year, and my intent wasn't to be this active, but I was. So I love doing it, but there's other people that can take on some roles if they are up to it. And it's our role as other fellow Rotarians is to help them on their way to those leadership roles. And then my final category is the social member. And there's nothing wrong with being a social member in our club. These are members that have been with the club a very long time and enjoy coming out every week to the meetings and enjoy the camaraderie of Rotary and the friendship and the fellowship that it brings. And they've been active in the club, they've been past presidents, they've been active at the district level, at the international level, and they still come out and do things when they can, but that's fine. They've given up they're on their tail end of the Rotary journey, and they are just happy where they are, and there's nothing wrong with that. So those are the people that we have in our club. My hope as the membership chair is to find members who we can engage and be active now, because that's important so we can continue doing what we're doing. Because I'll tell you, we've had 31 projects this year, initiatives that we've done through all of our committees. That's fundraising, that's environment, that's community service, that's everything. That's a lot of work. And each one of those initiatives needs a champion. So that's 31 different people that had to take on a role to manage that initiative. And so it takes a village to make these things successful. You can't count on just a small portion of that. So having said that, I just want to thank my committee members, and I want to thank the membership at large in supporting this as we move forward within the membership and building our club with a really active membership that we can be proud of. So thank you. Okay, while I'm up here, I'm going to take on Laura's bingo report, and I'm just going to read it. I apologize, but you couldn't be with us today. So as bingo is our largest fundraising initiative, so bingo is arguably the club's major fundraiser. During the 23-24 Rotary year, we had 33 bingo sessions, 2 hours each. At each session, 2 members must attend, greeting customers, cleaning tables, and slot machines. 18 of the 33 sessions were held in the fall of 2023. The remaining 15 happened the first 6 months of 2024. There are a couple of reasons to the fewer sessions in 2024. Delta Bingo, St. Clair, decided to eliminate every 10 a.m. game and the 4 p.m. sessions on Mondays and through Thursdays. Therefore, the hall offered fewer 2-hour sessions for charities. The hall has also added more charities, resulting in more charities sharing fewer shifts. So, but due to the slots activity, an increase in the payout per session has gone to about $1,700 per session. So we're making about $3,500 a month from bingo. The process is continuing. For the second half of 2024, we'll be limited to 2 sessions per month. Previous years, we've had more or less Sunday through and sessions on Sunday and through Tuesdays. During this year, we've had them all over the week. We've also had shifts at time of the day, including a couple of 10 p.m. to midnight shifts. In a way, it is incorrect to call the event bingo events these days. Yes, bingo is being played, but most of the funds come from the slot machine. That area has grown constantly to more than 200 slot machines in the hall right now. As most of you know that are on this initiative, there are plans to move the hall to a location between Kipling and Islington, south of the Gardiner Expressway, as the current building will be torn down and replaced with 3 residential towers. The date of the move has not been announced yet, and it's been pushed forward multiple times. And once we do have that date, we'll let everybody know. And if not everyone's clear, but the city does place restrictions on how we can spend those bingo funds. The monies must benefit people in Toronto. This means that the funds can be used for projects initiated by every club committee except for the international committee. However, my personal view is that the current formula where the youth and community, the youth and vocational and the community service committees will receive an equal amount shared by, should be changed. And this is his comment. Yes, the two committees and the environmental committee should be given a base guaranteed amount from bingo for planning purposes. However, a portion should be kept to be allocated where it is best needed, be it just one of the three committees. So charities must spend the bingo money as soon as they can. They don't like it when we sit on the money. And you've seen the example of all the activities we've done this year. There's examples of charities where the city has recalled the permit the charities have because they didn't spend the funds. If we want to support one major project, say Habitat for Humanity, we can always give funds in installments. Bingo funds can't be given to charities that are involved in the bingo program themselves. And he goes on to say, I want to thank Marion Axsmith, Anna Chepp, Joe Clark, Norma Davis, Ron Denham, Glenn Frost, Tom Knott, Mike Moy, David Richardson, Lois McRae, Don Smith, Jenny Billenduke, Walter Wells, Walter III, and Lisa Whitwell, who have been part of the bingo team. A special thanks to Lisa, who is issuing checks and submitting permit applications and monthly reports to the city. There's always room for more additional members on the team. In order to qualify, one has to complete the online training that takes about 30 minutes to complete. It's not very difficult. And during our fireside chats, I did speak to, Glenn's not, I said, no way. I did say during our fireside chat that it is kind of a rite of passage for newer members. They should join the committee just to see, as being our largest fundraiser, to see what it takes to raise the money that we put out into the world. So on behalf of Lars, I want to thank you for all your efforts this year on the bingo team. Okay, and with that, I'm going to call up Nan. Yeah, you can.
Thank you. Okay, as chair of the Environment Committee, I want to tell you that I've got a couple of fabulous people on the team with me, Glenn Frost and Vicki Letterman, full of great ideas. I've got a very brief report. It will take far less than 5 minutes. And most of what I'm going to be covering on the report, if I haven't lost it on my phone, is from last year, 2023. The reason being, as of January, it looked like the Environmental Committee was shutting down. We just didn't have enough people willing to join in. And I really feel that environment is so important that I've sort of done what David did. I've jumped in and said, no, don't shut it down, let's do it. So we have carried on. We've had one major event, but just so you know why the Environmental Committee might appear to have disappeared a little bit this year, my idea was that environment is sort of like a three-legged stool. We're doing the cleanup, which is really important. We're planting trees, which takes the carbon out of the environment. But the leg we're not addressing is the fact that we all are putting out a lot of carbon, which means we got to plant more and more trees, and there's a limit to what we can plant. So I have spent a lot of time thinking and analyzing and on the internet, trying to figure out how we can analyze our carbon footprint and how we can each, as a member of the club, reduce what we're doing while making it fun, interesting, a challenge, and hopefully being a lead club in this environment. I think we have a simple way of doing it now almost, and hopefully we'll have it for you this spring. So with that having been said, and hopefully we'll have some exciting things coming, this is our report for 23-24. I admit I wasn't there for most of it, so you can correct me if you like. Glenn is very good at keeping me on track always. So apparently we did 2 or 3 environmental committees in 2020, or environmental minutes in 2023, information sessions at our meetings. There was a tour to Flemo Farm arranged, I think by Neelam, and 8 people went, and I figured probably an hour and a half each. Maybe we spent 12 hours there enjoying that. Josepha spent a lot of time on dental recycling, a lot of hours in research and a lot of hours in talking about and trying to get us to buy in. Unfortunately, we didn't, but I just want to thank her for all of her efforts there. Plastic Free July, we did for a couple of years. Only 9 people joined in last year. So this year, Glenn is redesigning that for us, and we're going to try and make it a little more interesting, interactive, and so on, but we will be addressing something like that again. This year we did a cleanup, and we had at least 20 of us there, if not a few more. And that was a great success, and 10 of us went for lunch after. So that was a good time, I think, and we certainly contributed something there. We plan to do our tree planting instead of this spring. We plan to do it in September. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully we get a turnout like we did for the cleanup. And if that works, then I think it's a good idea. We'll divide it a little bit in the spring and a little bit of work in the fall, and look for in the next month or so our new plan for trying to really get some exciting things happening at the club. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Last but not least, I'm going to call Stephen Bianco on for the fundraising committee update.
Another brief report. Yeah. Okay. I'd like to thank first of all the participation of the members of the fundraising committee: David Richardson, John McIntosh, Ed Lee, Mike Moy, Stephen Stein, Ron Wild, Tom Knott, Anna Chepp, and as well Bill Martin on the golf, and Maria Scharfenberg as well, who spent time with me. Just 4 things to report in this past year. We had a very nice summer event at the Woodbine Racetrack last August. It was more of a social event than anything else. We just raised $300 in registration fees. About 30 people attended and had a good afternoon. It's Royal Ascot today, by the way, for those of you who are interested in horse racing, but we had fun. And most people, I think, seem to come out on the right side if they put any money on any of the horses. The most successful event, the big event of the year, the principal fundraiser, was the Monte Carlo night, which we held at the end of October. 75 people. We filled this room. We had all the games, blackjack, roulette, and everything else around the room here. We had a fantastic time, raised over $22,000. Very successful, and we plan to repeat that again next year. We have a major fundraiser every second year. The Tree of Remembrance, this ran from the 11th to the 24th of December at the Young Eglinton Centre and raised just under $3,000. We do that for 14 days. It's very good to raise the profile of the club, and also to we usually get inquiries about membership as well from that, and it's very good. That works very well. We'll be doing that again this year. And then what we call Behind the Curtain event. We went to the Elgin Winter Garden Theatre and had a most amazing behind-the-scenes tour of the theatre on the 2 levels. It's this 2-tier level theatre in just downtown Toronto. We had a great time there. And a group of us went over across the road for dinner afterwards. That raised over $400. Again, something of a social event as well. So there's a total of just over $26,000 raised last year. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Stephen. I'm trying to figure out if I should do the citation or not. I think I should, because it's important people understand it. We're probably going to run a little long, but I apologize for that. But I'll go through this fairly quickly. As I am bringing this up, each year the president is responsible for building out goals for the club on a yearly basis, and Don set these for this year. Okay, Dawn set these this year, and I'm going to quickly go through them. She set 15 goals for the club. We managed to meet 14 of those 15 goals, as I said. So club membership, this is the one we didn't make. Our goal was 52 members this year. We actually only had 46 at the end of this year. Service participation. This is a guesstimate, but we had about 37 members getting involved from our club. Now, having said that, if I go through my numbers, I can tell you that we had 167 volunteers involved in our efforts this year. Not double people, triple, 4, 5 times, but 160 separate volunteer interactions that happened that generated just under 1,000 hours. This is my guesstimate. I based on some of the activities. Some of this was just handing a check. Some of it was like the Tree of Remembrance. Like the Tree of Remembrance gave us, it was 192 hours. The bingo had 132 hours based on the numbers that I pulled together. So it is service partition is very big for our club. We had new member sponsors, so that was someone would be sponsoring a member, bringing them on board. We had 3 members was our goal, and we had 3 members. Leadership development, we had 1. We actually had 2, I think. Arthur was one of them, and I don't think anyone else took Leadership Institute, but I know that Anna went to the assembly for that, and I think Maria did too. I could be wrong. District conference attendance, we had 7 people actually attend our district conference last October, and hopefully we'll have that same number this year. So myself, Lois, Dawn, Anna, Lars, Ron, and Jenny all attended. District training participation, so we had actually more than 3. Our goal was 2, and that included the district assembly that happened beginning of June. Annual fund, this is interesting. So we typically been setting a goal of about $5,000. This is the Rotary International, the share fund. So this is one we give money to that comes back to us in 3 years. This isn't for the polio, this isn't disaster relief, this isn't where you can designate it. This is the general fund. We actually donated $8,491 US to Rotary International through that fund. And thanks to Norma, who really spearheaded polio this year and said, we need to be contributing to it. You did mention it in meetings. You said it's something we should be thinking about. Our goal has always been around 500,000 or 500 US, and we've only done usually around that. But this year we did $1,104 towards polio because it is showing its head again in the North American region. Service projects. We had a goal of 15 service projects. We did actually 31, as I said, 167 different volunteer opportunities. And we gave close to $100,000 in charity. I think it's actually over that. I think it was between the bingo funds, that doesn't include the foundation funds that went out. So that's a pretty good sum of money that we've given out through our initiatives. RISE participation, our goal was 2. I thought we found 5. We only sponsored 2, right? But we found, we had someone from Trails Go. Didn't we introduce them to another club?
We had 5, 1 didn't show.
One didn't show.
We had 4
right.
members of the 30.
Right.
From our
yeah, so we had 5 of the 30 participants of the RILES program. So we had youth going to this program, and we had 5 of them from our club. We found them. We may not have paid for them all, but we found them, and some other clubs did pay for their online presence. So are we making inroads? This year, we haven't been able to as much as I'd like to because we don't have a public image chair, and hopefully we can change that. But we've had updates by personal postings from our members. So we have had an online presence. Social activities. That was one of the things we wanted to have at least 3. This year we actually had 5. So we had the barbecue in August. We had the Woodbine racetrack event that Stephen spoke to. We had the behind the curtain at the Young and should say the Elgin and Winter Garden Theater, which was a lot of fun. We had the Monte Carlo night, and then we've been having district RAWs with other clubs in the area. And then updates on website and social media. We probably met this goal. I just haven't been able to track it, but we've been doing updates 1 or 2 times. Mike Moy's been updating the website and such, and our social media has been active. Rotary Action Group. I know we have at least 3 people that are part of action groups within the district as well as internationally. I know that Ron is part of WashRag. Neil is part of the Environmental Action Group. So there are people out there that are active in those environments. And then use of official Rotary promotional materials. Well, this template that you see that I'm using right now is from the Brand Center on Rotary International's website. So yes, you do use their things. So that is the citation updates. And so Arthur's going to choose whatever he wants this year, and hopefully we'll get a citation that we'll get from the district saying that we passed all of these things. But that is the citations for the year. And we don't really talk about it a lot in the year, but it's something that's in the back of our minds that we should be focusing on to make sure that we are actually spending time on these things. So having said that, I'm going to do very quick updates from the president's view, and then on to the most important reason we're all here is for that. Well, that's why Hannah's here, for the yearly awards for our members and our friends of Rotary. But having said that, to Tom's point, Trails last week, if you didn't go, you missed a great day. Trails, we had 21 people there. The weather was beautiful. We had a lot of fun. They were very welcoming. We do have pictures. Walter took amazing pictures. I will include them in my follow-up email. We have a great group shot of us with the $24,000 check. So we are going to be giving $6,000 a year for the next 4 years. And so we gave them the check for the $24,000 commitment. So that was great. next week or 2 weeks from now, we have our changeover. So if you can make it for that meeting, that's when I get to hand the reins over to Arthur. And he'll take us down the road that he wants to go with for his Rotary year. As Josepha talked to, Blues Fest, we're still looking for volunteers. Even if you're not volunteering, you want to come out. It's a great day if you like jazz and blues. As well, tomorrow night, I don't know if anyone wants to put up their hand. Is anyone going to the district changeover and district awards ceremony out in Whitby tomorrow night? I'm going. Is anyone else going? No? Okay, it's so when we get to see like Arthur and I are doing, are you going tomorrow night?
I don't think so.
Okay. So yeah, so that's tomorrow night. And then I just want to mention, and I'm surprised you didn't mention it, Stephen, Project Give Back. So Tom and I went last Thursday to Regal Road Public School. We went and we visited the students of the 5th-6th grade. They're 12 years old. This is something that we support every year. And basically what it is, there's a great group of people from Project Give Back that work with the schools, the Toronto District School Board, and they basically get the children involved in a charity of their choice. And typically the charity of choice is usually a charity that has impacted their lives in some way, shape, or form. So if someone has Alzheimer's in their families, or someone has suffered from cancer, so they choose the Canadian Cancer Society or the Alzheimer's Society of Canada, and they present to you. And it's very interesting if you've never been a part of this process to go and ask these questions of these 12-year-olds. And I can tell you, from what you do to what they do, it's like night and day in regards to their confidence level and such. It's really great to see these students coming out of their shell, and it really gives an impact and leads them down that community and that return of giving back in their lifestyle. Because most of these kids don't understand that it's important to give back to your community. And so these kids are starting to learn that. And that's what Project Give Back is all about. So that was a great situation. I think we're going to be doing it again next year, right? Okay. That's my update, my last update. So now we're going to go forth and talk about our service awards. So we're giving out 3 awards today. One of them is, the first one is Service Above Self. So this is something that people have been nominating, and the nomination committee, I want to thank Walter III, Steve Bianco, and Tom Knott for sitting down and going through this whole process. The first award we give is the Service Above Self. And typically, this is given to a member of our club who has gone above and beyond and really put service above their self. And they have shown their dedication to Rotary in the community and internationally. And so that person happens not to be here today, but I did inform him of the fact that he won last night. But this is going to, and I'm going to accept it on his behalf, and he was very flattered. It's going to Jim Moore this year. So if you do see him, congratulate him. Okay. So I will take that on behalf of Jim. So now we have the last 2 awards. One is the Paul Harris for a friend of Rotary, someone that's not within our midst as a Rotarian. It's my pleasure to award this today to Hannah. If you were here on April 17th, you would have been as moved as much as I was. She brought me to tears. Anyway, so each year our club recognizes an individual in our Rotary community that we feel embodies one of our founding members, Paul Harris's philosophy about giving back to create positive change in the communities close to home and around the world. Their efforts help strengthen peace efforts, fight disease, provide clean water and sanitation, save mothers and children, support education, grow local economies, and protect the environment. There are 7 areas of focus. I believe this is one of, if not one of the highest recognitions for any individual in Rotary. Our recipient this year helped strengthen peace efforts as well as support education in their school. I'd like to introduce our recipient this year, Hannah Swartz. Hannah is a 15-year-old in the 10th grade at Northern Secondary School, who is an active social entrepreneur. As the current president of the Jewish Student Union, Hannah is committed to fostering inclusivity and understanding within her school community. Hannah runs Voice in Action, which is an online anti-hate awareness program. Her goal is to address the repercussions of hate in our community, but also the division that has formed in her school since the October 7th attacks. Beyond her local community, community contributions, her role as Canadian delegate to the South Korea for CISV International further highlights her global perspective and commitment to international understanding and cooperation. Hannah founded Save a Butterfly, an innovative e-learning and environmental initiative And I said, if you have not seen her presentation to our club from April 17th, I encourage you to view it on our club YouTube channel. Personally, her presentation gave me pause to understand that one person's voice can have an impact, and the fact that a 15-year-old has the maturity to address the situation only speaks to me that she has a true understanding of her heritage and her place in the world. I'm gonna start to cry again, I don't know why. Jackie provided me with a quote from the Human Rights Museum, and we feel this is appropriate for Hannah. Young do not know enough to be prudent, and therefore they attempt the impossible and achieve it generation after generation. Multiple members came to me after your presentation to say how they felt you should be recognized for your impact. That is why on behalf of our club, I am so proud to present you with the Paul Harris Fellow. Take a picture, Jackie?
Yeah, just a second. Sorry, that's fine. I can't, I'm so excited here.
You can tell the ex-principal.
Okay, she's keeping us long, sorry.
It's all right, okay.
And your sisters come up? Can we get one more picture with your sisters too?
All close together. Pretend you like each other.
Okay.
Very good.
There's.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, last but not least, I'm going to call upon Stephen Bianco to do the next presentation.
Well, it gives me very great pleasure to be presenting a Paul Harris Award to David Richardson. David was introduced to RTE by Joe Clark. Joe, I think we're still online somewhere. Yeah, I can see him there. David's father was a member of Rotary, but he himself hadn't had time to join as he was building his career in a marketing and film company. When he sold that and Joe asked him to consider joining, he jumped right in 2019, right? Becoming chair of fundraising from 2021 to 2020/21 and 22/23, where he was able to employ his business skills, starting with a virtual fundraiser with HIP, honoring Indigenous peoples during COVID. Following that, with the very successful Monte Carlo evening last October. We also pioneered the big screen drive-in film evening at the Marley Lawrence Center, which we ran for 2 years again during COVID. That was a very successful event. David also launched the Tree of Remembrance at the Young Eglinton Center to raise funds and awareness of Rotary, which we have run for 2 years and will do again this December. He became president of the club for 22/23 and again for the second half of 23/24 when that year's president bowed out early. During this period, he undertook a complete review of club policies and procedures. He also chairs, as you've heard, the membership committee and has hosted the fireside chats for new members. So you've heard a lot from David, and now just a little bit about David. So David, it gives me very great pleasure to present you with this. Here we go. Here's the certificate.
Thank you.
And the pin.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Walter.
Get this
I
out
got
of
it, I've
here.
seen it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So with that, thank you, Ganesi, I can see you clapping. With that, that ends this meeting. Is there anything else that anyone wants to speak to before we close it out? Okay, I want to thank everyone for coming today, of our new guests, and Hannah and her family. Sorry your dad didn't make it in time. But anyway, but thank you very much and have a great week. And next week is Raw, so it's at the Duke of Kent at 5:30 to 7. So hopefully we'll see some of you there. Okay. And Blues Fest on Saturday and the district changeover tomorrow. Thanks, everybody online.